That probably made no sense to you if you haven't seen Only God Forgives, which a lot of you haven't. Only God Forgives was directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, who isn't really a big director, but he did do Drive, which was a pretty good movie, a movie that I like a lot. A lot of people didn't like, but I loved it. Anyway, it pretty much tells the story of Ryan Gosling. I don't remember any of the characters, I barely remember the plot. Ryan Gosling and his brother. His brother gets killed pretty much because he, like, murdered a prostitute or something. So he gets killed, and then... yeah? It's really hard to describe this movie. But not in a good way. Like, I haven't been able to describe movies before, but this one, it's hard to describe because there was so little going on. It wasn't a huge movie, it wasn't a huge release, and it's on Netflix if you want to watch it. That's how I saw it. It just did not work for me. Like, none of the elements really came together well at all. If you like plot and dialogue and characters, you will hate this movie. It's like, I knew that this movie was trying to be an art movie. I tried to recognize that for it. I like really tried to look into it. The symbols, there were a lot of symbolism, but it just, there wasn't enough substance to make up for the intense style, if that makes any sense. Ryan Gosling does well. I'm a huge fan of Ryan Gosling, but he has nothing to do in this movie. He literally has like 4 lines of dialogue. Not literally, but like around that. He has around like 5 lines in this movie. There's sequences that are like 20 minutes long of just no one talking. And you don't know what's happening. I had to like look up explanations of this movie to understand what was happening in the scenes, and I was like, oh, now that I understand the movie, I'll try to watch it again. Maybe I'll appreciate it. I tried to watch it again. I still hated it. The positives, it did look really nice. The cinematography was very good. The colors and the settings, it did look really nice. The soundtrack was pretty cool. It was kind of like similar to Drive, if you heard that soundtrack. I don't really know how to describe it. It was kind of like techno-ish, but not like party techno. It was like very chill techno. I don't know how to describe it really. The screenplay was just so terrible that it just drove everything else about this movie into the ground, because there was so little dialogue. It was very, very weird. It was very, very violent, but it wasn't like cool violence, like some kind of Tarantino violence or something like that. It was just like gross violence. This is a spoiler, okay? So his mom, who's kind of like this major, she's terrible, she dies. And then he literally like takes his hand and like feels around in her stomach. And that's supposed to be a symbolic thing. I understand that. I'm not going to go into what it was symbolizing, but it was just gross. Like, it was not necessary. The screenplay was just so bad. There's nothing going on in this movie. I'm going to give Only God Forgives a D+. And I'm not going to pick out of the hat because tonight I'm seeing either The Wolf of Wall Street or The Hobbit. So I'm going to come back and do a review for whichever one I end up seeing. So see you next time.